Welcome to Resonance, the podcast where innovation meets social impact. I'm your host, Gary Bosgood, Indigenous business leader and engineer with over 4 decades of experience in project management and community engagement. In our groundbreaking first episode, we're asking, can Indigenous wisdom revolutionize modern engineering? Today we're sitting down with Steven Vaivada, founder of Scout Engineering. Steven's not just building infrastructure. He's redefining how engineering serves Indigenous communities. Get ready to explore the game-changing concept of collaborative wisdom, why diversity isn't just good ethics, it's smart business, how reframing success can transform entire communities, and the resilience it takes to innovate in a centuries-old industry. Whether you're an engineer, entrepreneur, or simply curious about the future of sustainable development, this episode will challenge your assumptions and inspire new possibilities. So join us as we connect traditional knowledge and cutting-edge technology right here on Resonance. So tell me, with all of these technical things, diversity and inclusion, and what does greatness mean? What is greatness to you and your firm?
I mean, I've tried to figure that out over time because I think there's perceived greatness. There's a lot of times people try to put up metrics, and there's titles too. Like now we have billionaires, we have all these titles that denote some sort of distinct place in society. And I feel like greatness is a thing that you can achieve internally. Like I said, like everyone is capable of greatness. And in a lot of ways, it doesn't matter what the world thinks. And I think that's where social media and we've gone wrong in a lot of ways by looking outside for validation. And a lot of the world we live in is pushing us more and more to seek validation from others. Like we're not, the messaging is never like, it's within you. Like you have within you the ability to be happy, or you have the ability within you to be fit and healthy. There's always there's industries built on creating uncertainty within you on any number of, issues that you might be having. And, some of it's valid, like mental health. And if you are suffering illness, those are all real things. But I think, our perspective on being great as a company, of course, because we're a smaller firm and we're newer, it's in a lot of ways, it's informed by by myself and by the group that's kind of part of this initial core leadership team. And I don't see a pursuit of individual achievement within our teams. And I personally look at greatness for myself as part of that. I mentioned the superpower of being able to help somebody overcome their fear, pump them up and send them out into the world to go do great things. That is the greatest feeling I can get out of my working day, is if I leave a conversation with somebody in the team or somebody who just wanted to chat with me and pick my brain about something, if I can send them off feeling better and feeling more ready to take on the world. And so when you have a internal feedback mechanism which rewards that idea of helping other people go on and challenge themselves and to not be scared, and that I'm not here to judge them, I think personally that's our way of trying to create greatness. Is we try and build each other up. So when I talk about being great, in many ways it's I want to be great for what I can do, but my greatness is not tied to my own personal achievement. It's by my association with people who go on to do great things, and my kind of small interaction with them. And I see the world around me as connected to what I'm doing. And then that being within our company, I really think like our greatness is derived from our clients and what they go on to do, because that's kind of like our way of, as a company, taking that on and saying, hey, if we can encourage these Indigenous communities or other Indigenous businesses we work with, if we can encourage them to go on to greatness, we ourselves are creating a better world and achieving greatness by the influence we have around us. And so I think that is the shortest way I can probably describe that idea of greatness without going on for another hour or so.
Well, no, that's wonderful. And you've done this in 2 years of pandemic, Steve. Do you ever think, like, how did we do it? And how did you do it?
Yeah. Well, I think the interesting thing for business owners and people trying to just hold on for dear life, honestly, through that roller coaster ride where every day is uncertain. And I think like even now we're still looking around the corner. Is there another variant? And you know, what could come along? And now we need people to come back to the office, or do we? Or how do we deal with hesitancy towards vaccination, or clients who have vaccination requirements and all that? I think we were really lucky, and I've maybe said this in other places, and I'll try to put a different spin on it. We learned the hard way going into the pandemic where our business was deficient. And so we really broke ourselves down and started from the bottom in terms of what we're doing, how we're doing it, and how do you make that a business? And then, that humbling experience really helped to go into the pandemic and this period of uncertainty with an open mind to say, I don't know all the answers, but I can figure them out. So we were very lucky to have turned the business around, started to build up our book of clients and our book of projects going into the pandemic. And so that momentum has only increased, where I think people, have had maybe an increased faith in us as a company, where they see that, hey, we're doing pretty good. We didn't fall apart through this period. So people are investing more in us in terms of what they're willing to invite us to take on. And I think also that humility going into it with employees and clients and everybody around us in a really tough place, mentally, physically, emotionally, we really identified with the struggle that everybody's going through. So we were able to come from that place of having very recent, I'll call it like that recent emotional roller coaster. We were able to, as a team, come together and then bring our clients into that safe space and that very positive, supporting space that we try to create. And I think I feel like that's been the core of how we've succeeded through the pandemic. I mean, you can get into the numbers where we didn't have a ton of overhead, so we weren't carrying in a lot of costs that a lot of other companies were. We're pretty agile. We're able to work remotely, so we can bring in contractors from all over our region. There's a lot of kind of the physical and logistical things that we were able to manage, but I really feel like that all came from and is derived from that want to support each other and then take that back to our clients and support them.
That's awesome. And I think you've easily made the best of a bad situation. And I hope it's over too. I want to move on. You're working on the Lubicon project. It might be one of the largest First Nations infrastructure projects in Canada. And there you are in a strong role in front of a complex project, a federally funded project. That feels like, I'm going to use the word turning point a bit. That's a substantial commission and a great profile and a challenging project. What can you tell us about that? How did that journey go, and how do you feel about that project?
I think I'd love to just share a little bit of the community's history with your listeners, because we are now weaving ourselves into the tapestry, this rich history of the Lubicon Lake Band. And so for those listeners who are a little bit younger, maybe don't know too much about that community, they were a First Nation that was missed during treaty making. They were kind of a little bit further afield off of the well-traveled path of the treaty makers, and were not included in the treaty signing. And so that community has struggled mightily to be recognized, including having their members stricken from the roles of First Nations or Indigenous peoples recognized by the federal government. I've been lucky to find some written histories of the community and then spoken to some elders about that history, just to confirm that and to hear some of the lived experience of those community members. But they went in front of the UN and were granted status to speak in front of the UN High Commission, I believe, on Human Rights. And so they did speak in front of the General Assembly and really pressed the government to recognize them as a community. And so, here we are 80 years on from that time. By the time, we are done this project, it might be like 100 years past when the treaty signing should have happened, where they would have been recognized. And we're helping them develop their entire community from the ground up. We're starting with, an existing, kind of to call it a small rural community that requires water, wastewater infrastructure, facilities, many of the same types of infrastructure you would see on modern First Nations elsewhere in Canada is not there. So we're coming in, and our unique role in that project is to ensure that the opportunities that are available for these community members is not missed, and that the engineers are not operating in a way that neglects that unique history and that unique perspective and the way that the community perceives all of this development, where I think it's very easy to be overwhelmed or to be a passenger rather than part of the driving team, part of that guiding team. So I think it is a massive turning point for the company to be selected to participate in a project like this that will go down in that community's history as their turning point and a massive change in their way that they go about their lives, but that we help to turn it into something that they are leading and that they are part of. And we didn't start this process. We were handed the baton, and it's our turn to run with it and to really help this community realize their desired future.
Well, thank you. And thank you for providing that history. I have to say, as someone who's involved in that project, you guys are fitting right in, and your team will meet probably every single resident of that community in the next while.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's a rare thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And that opportunity to connect to that history and to, I hope, to leave a positive impact and a positive reputation in that area. I think it's an opportunity that I'm just extremely happy to have.
There you have it. A glimpse into the future of engineering shaped by the wisdom of the past. Steven Vaivada and Scout Engineering have shown us how collaborative wisdom can revolutionize an entire industry. By bridging Indigenous knowledge with modern practices, they're not just building infrastructure, they're constructing a new paradigm of success, one where community impact outweighs profit margins. As we close this first episode of Resonance, I invite you to reflect. How can you incorporate these principles into your own work and life? Whether you're an engineer, an entrepreneur, or simply someone who cares about sustainable development, there's a lesson here for all of us. In our next episode, we'll continue to amplify the voices of those who are redefining innovation in their fields. Until then, I encourage you to seek out and support Indigenous-led businesses in your area. Their perspectives might just hold the key to solving challenges we've long struggled with. If this conversation resonated with you, subscribe to our podcast and share it with others. For a deeper dive, check out our show notes. You'll find key moments from the episode, suggestions for further engagement, and links to connect with Steven and Scout Engineering. Remember, true innovation doesn't just echo, it resonates, transforming everything it touches. Thank you for listening, and until next time, keep seeking wisdom in unexpected places.